Hi everyone, this is Nareen's Live with MS. I am Nareen and welcome to probably the last treatment Tuesday for a little while. Just considering that we have pretty much reached to the current day as far as treatments go, and as far as alternative treatments go, or what I like to call complementary treatments to you know getting rituximab every 6 months. So today I'm going to talk about something that I am pretty happy with, especially right now, considering that it was something that I had previously, then I stopped it, then I restarted it. And what I'm talking about right now is, of course, physiotherapy. And when I mentioned that I started it again, it was actually more like started it, stopped it, started it, stopped it again, then started it again. And this time around, I feel like it is going to be for the long run, simply because I um, realize that physiotherapy is not something, at least at my stage, is not something that I can only do um, until I see the beneficial results. Once I see the benefits, I can pretty much let go. Now it's pretty much become a permanent thing, and I hope that I can continue it for a very, very long time, because I definitely have seen some improvements out of it. So, with that said, let's get started with talking about physiotherapy. So, where did physiotherapy start? So, I would say that it started sometime around 2016, the first round, where, on my left leg, it's always the left leg, um, where where my doctor noticed that my doctor back then noticed that I was, not able to flex my left ankle as much as I should be. And so he assigned, he assigned physiotherapy for me, and I started doing physiotherapy. At that point in time, I would do physiotherapy, I would say 3 times a week. The physiotherapist would come home and then would take me through a few exercises, and then they would also um, do a little bit of what you can pretty much call massages, to pretty much get my leg, mobile at that point in time. This carried on for about, I want to say, 2 or 3 months. And after that, my left ankle definitely got a little more loose. It definitely was able to flex to the extent that it should have. And that was a great thing, because at that point in time, and because I was that young, and of course very naive, um, I said, okay, this is great, because now from here on out, I would, go back to working out to prepare for, a trip to volunteer in Nepal. So that was one thing that, I ended up doing. Uh, at least this was, back in 2016. Then, and the one thing is that when you are doing physiotherapy, the thing that people don't tell you or don't teach you is that you need someone there to help you, right? You definitely do need someone to help you, to hold your hand, to walk you through those exercises, because you can't do them all on your own. And with me trying to be as independent as possible, um, or trying and not really succeeding, I realized that I could not really exercise that well with all of the different things I had. And I had quite a few things. I had exercise balls, I had a wobble board, I think I still have my wobble board somewhere. Um, it used to be a lot of fun to be on that wobble board. I think the last time I got on it, and that was much more recently, I would say a few years back, I sprained my ankle. So obviously, it is something that you definitely do need someone to pretty much assist you in, doing that exercise, to pretty much helping you out. And while there are certain repetitions that you can do, I also happen to be in a place or in a job where I was working pretty long hours, and just was not finding the right amount of time to devote to doing exercises or doing movements besides the exercises that I was already doing to pretty much prepare myself for volunteering. So that was one big thing that happened. And of course, I mean, every time that I've noticed that, once I stop the physiotherapy, it's very hard to do it yourself. I mean, even if I talk about when I first had my relapse back in 2009, um, if I was able to get a therapist to just come in um, 2 to 3 times a week to just engage in all of the exercises, the result today might have been a lot better or a lot more different. Just but because there was I would just look at physiotherapy at that point as more of a, okay, do this for 8 weeks, do this for 12 weeks, do this for 16 weeks, and then after that you're good to go. Because I was looking at it like that, I would gain the benefits, but the benefits would last a very short time. So that is one thing that I definitely did want to do want to say about physiotherapy. And one thing that I definitely want to recommend, that if you are starting physiotherapy, do make sure that you're looking at it more in terms of a long term investment for yourself, so that you are looking at it sort of as a way to stay within status quo, or getting a little better or incrementally better over time. Not something that you can say, okay, fine, I'm going to stop it now. Right? So that was 2016. Then comes 2018, where again I was working very far away from home. So it would take me about 2 hours to travel to my office, and then 2 hours back. And so one thing that I started doing was going to a physiotherapy that was sort of in between my office and home, to break up the day. And so there were, I think, 3 days a week where I would actually come, I would pretty much stop my day halfway, go to the physiotherapist, engage in those exercises, uh, and then pretty much go back home and continue to work from home. Now this was back in 2000, I want to say 2018, when I actually started, or 2017 when I actually started this. And even when I say that this happened, again, noticed a lot of improvement. I definitely noticed certain things that if you ask me to do them now, I will I would probably ask to eat a live scorpion instead than engage in any of these exercises, because at that point in time I was able to climb a step without holding anything. It honestly sounds like I'm saying something that I dreamt about, but it was something that was happening at that point. I was able to, balance a lot more on both of my legs, and it definitely was something that uh, was very beneficial. And then I would say in 2018 that abrupted. There was, I had to stop suddenly because, I had the relapse in 2018. And as a result, it was actually during physiotherapy where I said that I think I have a relapse happening right now. And as a result, I don't know where or what I'm going to do. So pretty much that was actually the last session I had of physiotherapy in 2018. And then it stopped there. But the one thing was that, because it was pretty much right after there where I started on rituximab, saw a lot of benefits in using rituximab, and, got a lot of my previous my previous movements back. And so as a result of that, I would say I was fairly active. And because in 2018 I had started working from home, and and because we are looking at a pre-COVID era, work from home, my work day would start around 9 a.m. and it would end at around 5 p.m. I know it's hard to imagine that, but yes, it would end at 5 p.m. And then I would pretty much have the rest of the day to, work out, just pretty much keep myself in shape. And, that continued up until I would say 2020, like towards the end of 2020 or pretty much the mid of 2021, where I would just have a lot of extra time that I could devote to just working out. And when I'm talking about working out, I'm talking, you know, uh, I think there was a time where I would say, tell myself that, okay, it's time to do, let's do 10 push ups an hour, let's do 5 squats an hour, so that, over the course of the day, you have completed at least 100 squats, you have completed at least 200 push ups, you have also engaged in certain activities, or you have followed some exercise routine on a daily basis. So this was something that did actually happen. And I'm pretty in awe of myself that I had the discipline to pretty much be able to work out for up to 1.5 hours a day, and also engage in certain standalone exercises in between, just to keep myself up and active. That I would say that somewhat stopped around the time that I actually got COVID, which was 2022 Feb. At least it might have been COVID, it might not have been. I mean, I was too scared to actually get tested for it. But one thing I do know is that, I definitely felt feverish. I definitely felt flu like symptoms. I do remember, getting up. Uh, on the day the fever was highest and I wasn't able to move. So, with all of that said, my exercising also pretty much reduced dramatically after that, because I was experiencing a lot of other symptoms that I hadn't felt before. Electric shocks running down my leg, pretty much having this feeling of stiffness in my left leg, especially when I would stand. So a lot of these things happened, and they pretty much deterred me from working out. And the worst part of it all was that I also gave up on yoga, and that was pretty much because I wasn't able to balance myself. So then comes 2024. Yeah, 2024. And I start looking for another physiotherapist. And at that point in time, I actually ended up going to a physiotherapy gym and, you know, pretty much starting there. And I'm continuing it to this day. And but this time I think that it's going to be something that is going to happen for a very, very long time, because you know at this time I am definitely not only looking for improvement but also maintaining my status quo. And while there is I will definitely derive a lot of happiness out of being in status quo. Definitely I am looking for certain improvements such as being able to walk a little longer, being able to walk on uneven surfaces. That one definitely stings the most, considering that I would actually be dancing on a wobble board just a little over 10 years back. um, and then on top of that, um, just to be able to do certain things by myself without actually feeling that I need to hold on to something, hold on to a wall, hold on to a person, so that I feel like I can be a little independent. So that is where I am now. When it comes to physiotherapy, would I say that I do the same exercises that I did, let's say, 11 years back, or the same exercises I did um, 8 years, 7 or 8 years back? Probably not. I would say that my physiotherapy nowadays is more on doing certain functional things, but then also pretty much making sure that I'm building muscle as well. And that is just to be able to hold myself up. Um, because previously, a lot of the physiotherapy I would do was more in terms of functional training, right? A lot of it was just to release, um, just to be able to flex my ankle or doing something like that. But because a lot of that has also included a lot of muscle atrophy that has gone on as a result of whatever happened post 2022. There is also this need to build the muscle, um, get certain parts of my body, especially my core, to become strong enough to be able to uh, handle doing things such as just basic standing. So that pretty much covers my long history with physiotherapy. So physiotherapy was pretty much been there since 2009. I definitely remember when I was getting treatment, or at least getting my first dose of steroids after my, what I can only call, my first relapse. uh, I remember starting physiotherapy then. And sometimes I do think about the fact that what if I had continued physiotherapy from there. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very hard for me to actually say that yes, I would have retained that, because I have been through multiple forms of treatments. I have been through multiple different alternative therapies. There have been so many different things that have happened and that have actually molded uh, how my disease progressed or regressed over time. So that way, I do want to say that the one thing I definitely would recommend is, if you are if you are an MS patient, or if you are a patient with an autoimmune condition where you can foresee um, you know a decrease in your mobility, do look at physiotherapy as being sort of the one long term investment that you have to do make to your body, so that you can at least ensure that, from your end, from the end of being active and being true to yourself, you can definitely, you know you are definitely trying your level best to stay at what you can only deem is your status quo. So with that said, I hope you did find this talk very interesting. Now, like I said, there are quite a few things I definitely did discuss um, with AI as to how I can move forward, considering that this is going to be the last Treatment Tuesday, at least for right now, the last Treatment Tuesday episode. So there are a few things that I actually got as part of a brainstorming session, and so there is definitely something new that you can look forward to next Tuesday. And I'm very excited because there are actually multiple options, and so there will be multiple series that we can even start, just so we can make this channel just a little more um, worthwhile, just make this channel a little more dynamic and make it a little more engaging for you, the audience, to pretty much talk about everything. But with that said, of course, this is Narene's Life with MS. I am Narene, and I hope you're having a great start to the week. I hope your Tuesday went very well. And with that said, before I wish you a good night, I do want to say, if you do have any comments, if you do want to comment anything, if you do want to share your insights, your thoughts, your experiences, especially when it comes to physiotherapy, do share them so that we can get the conversation started. And with that said, here's me wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Bye.